Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today I want to recommend to you books that have LGBTQIA plus characters in them. I'm gonna go through all of the books that I really enjoyed in the past year that have this representation. This is quite a lot of books, so I won't go into depth with these. If I have videos that are like specifically about these books, I will link them down below so you can get some more information. But I hope that this will inspire you to pick some of these up. Most of these will be fantasy because this is my favorite genre, but I do have some other genres right at the end, and you can use the chapters to skip over genres you're not interested. So we're starting right out with the fantasy, and the first one is a series I'm currently reading, and that is the Rook and Rose trilogy by M.A. Carrick. And we have the first book, Mask of Mirrors, is the only one I have finished so far, and this one seems to be quite a queer normative world. There is a lot of like innuendo flying around, and the gender of the parties involved doesn't really matter to anyone. So while in this one the main character seems to be attracted to men for now, it isn't like considered weird when there is like same-sex attraction in this world. If you haven't heard of it, this is a Venetian-inspired fantasy series where we follow a woman who's trying to con her way into a wealthy family. Next up, we have the Chorus of Dragons series by Jenn Lyons. This is a series where we follow a young boy and then later on young man as he's trying to save the world against all odds. This is a very, very complex fantasy where with the magic, the way it works, people don't tend to stay in their bodies, and it makes it a little bit confusing at times, but it's absolutely worth it. The character work is immaculate, one of my favorite series, and in this one we actually do end up with a kind of triangle relationship where like three people are actually interested in each other and kind of in a relationship with each other. From the same author, I've also read The Sky on Fire, which is a standalone, so if you don't want to commit to a 5-book series. And in this one, we do again have a queer normative world where people use rings to keep track of like whether they're in a relationship, who they're attracted to, and stuff like that, which I think is a glorious idea, and I need us to start doing that because that would make dating so much easier. In this one, we follow a woman who was once sentenced to death, but she survived, and now she's pulled back into the political situation of her home to kind of save them all, maybe, from dragons. Then with this next one, I wasn't quite sure whether to include it or not because it might not be like the most great representation, but that is the Tawny Man trilogy by Robin Hobb. Now, I don't want to spoil anything because this is like book 7 to 9 in a series, but we do get like some character moments in this one that definitely are kind of gay. Let's just say it like that. And I was here for it. Not the way it was handled by one of our characters, but yeah, I'm not gonna say anymore. I don't want to spoil anything, but if you know, you know, and you know my suffering. Next up, we have a little cozy fantasy, The Cybernetic Teashop by Meredith Katz. This is just a short novella that is like very sweet. This is more like a sci-fi, I would say, because this is a world with like robots and AI, and we're just meeting one person who is a technician and a robot that is kind of not manufactured anymore because they were a little bit too human-like, and these two fall in love, and it's basically a sapphic kind of human robot love story. Then we have Evocation by ST Gibson, which I enjoyed more than I thought I would for some reason. This one will also get a sequel, so I'm very intrigued to read that as well. This one has more of this like magical kind of tarot feeling, I would say, where this group of people, they have like different kinds of magic, but it all just feels like, I don't know why. It just gives me that like kind of tarot magic feeling. We have a main character who basically needs the help of his male ex and his now wife, and they do end up in a weird triangle where not like all the relationships in that triangle are romantic, but it's still there. You know what I mean? And basically in this one, our main character is cursed and he needs the help of this other couple to lift the curse. Next up, we have one of my favorite new books of last year, and that was Someone You Can Build a Nest In by John Wiswell. This one is kind of a horror romance fantasy book where we follow a monster as she falls for a human woman. So this is kind of sapphic, but both of these characters would also fall under the asexual spectrum, I guess. Then we have Upright Women Wanted by Sarah Gailey. This is a sapphic Western story where we follow these kind of post women, or like librarians, I think they're actually librarians, in this like Western fantasy world. Then we have the Winnowing Flame trilogy by Jenn Williams. Again, one of my now favorite fantasy series. It was so good, so fun. And in this one we do have three main characters, and one of them is an older woman who is interested in women. And in this series we follow a world that periodically gets attacked by kind of this alien race, and there has been this kind of elven race of people who have always defeated the aliens, but now this race is dying out, and the question is, if the aliens come back, who's gonna fight them? The next one is a little bit depending on your taste, whether you're gonna like it or not, but it is How to Become the Dark Lord and Die Trying by Django Wexler. This will also get a sequel. This is going to be a duology. In this one, we follow a woman who is stuck in a fantasy world, and whenever she fails on her mission to defeat the Dark Lord, she gets reset and has to start trying again. She has been doing that for hundreds of years now, and she's finally fed up, and she's like, what if I don't try to defeat the Dark Lord, but to become the Dark Lord? And this one is also kind of very, very pansexual. Like, this character basically is interested in anything that could be considered living, and she's thinking about sex a lot. So if you don't like that, then stay away from this book. It's like very omnipresent, but as I said in my review for this book, you know, the horny girls need representation too. Next up, we do have some sequels, so I'm not going to go into great depth with these, but I read Somewhere Beyond the Sea by T.J. Klune, which is the follow-up to The House in the Cerulean Sea. We're still following the same gay couple from the first book and their kind of adopted children as they are struggling against the oppression of this world. Then we have Bookshops and Bonedust. This is the prequel to Legends and Lattes, where we follow the same orc Viv as she has to take kind of a time out from her work of being a mercenary because she gets injured and she has to stay in this little village where she's helping out in a bookstore. This one is sapphic. Then we have Into the Riverlands by Nghi, where we follow a non-binary monk as they go around and collect stories. In this one, the stories are very much about martial arts, which I enjoy quite a bit. And last but not least, we have Monstress Volume 8 by Sana Takeda and Marjorie Liu. This is my favorite comic series that I'm following. Can't wait to read the next volume very soon. And in this world, we follow a woman called Micah Halfwolf as she is stuck in a war between the Organics and the humans. And this has so many like sapphic relationships. I don't even know where to start. Next up, we're moving on to mystery, thriller, and horror. And the first one I have on my list is They Never Learn by Layne Fargo. This is a dark academia book that focuses on rape culture, and we follow a female professor who is killing men who are predators, and this is like a very, very sapphic story as well. Then we have Burn Down, Rise Up by Vincent Tirado, which is a YA horror set in the Bronx. This very much deals with the terrible fires that happened in the history of the Bronx, and we follow a girl who tries to save her crush, and this is sapphic as well. Then we have These Fleeting Shadows by Kate Ellis Marshall. This is the third book, the third kind of YA horror I've read from this author, and it wasn't quite as strong as the ones before. This one is sapphic as well, and we follow a girl that is kind of stuck in this mansion because she's told that she's going to be the sole heir to her family. However, she has to stay in the mansion without leaving for 12 months or no one will get anything. And then we have The Blonde Dies First by Joelle Wellington. This is also a YA horror where we have a group of teenagers who are followed by a killing monster after they participated in some Ouija board action. And if I remember correctly, this one was sapphic as well. Then I have one literary fiction recommendation for you, and that is Matrix by Lauren Groff. Again, that book is very sapphic. We follow a noblewoman who is kind of sent to this monastery to be away from the world, and while she's there, she's kind of working up the ranks to become the leader of this monastery. This is also a very feminist tale, and I just kind of loved the weird mix of the modern writing and the historical setting of this. And last but not least, we have two romance books, and romance is not a genre I usually read. However, I make one exception every year, and that is holiday romances. And so we have The Merriest Mistress by Timothy Janowsky. This is a gay romance, and we already have an established couple. We have a married couple of two men, and one of them is very much focused on his career, while the other one is trying to create the perfect home life. Everything goes a little bit to shit when they actually accidentally very badly hurt Santa Claus, and then they have to jump in and save Christmas. And the other one, this is also a continuation of a series, so I just want to quickly mention it here at the end, is I read the third volume of Heartstopper, and obviously that is such a sweet YA comic series about love in general. There is a lot of representation in this one, but the main couple is two boys falling in love. One of them is gay and one of them is bisexual, and we always love the bisexual rap. So that was a quick run through all the books that I read in the past year that had LGBTQIA plus representation in any way. Probably missed something, but I hope this gave you an inspiration what to pick up in June, because as I said, we need to support queer people, especially trans and non-binary people who are under big threat in the Western world right now. So they do need our support. We have to be loud and proud about it. And with that, I'm gonna let you go. Let me know in the comments if you want to pick up any of these books now. I would love to hear about that, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!